All right, on this jam-packed episode of Greeny Sports Cards Live, we'll bring you special interviews with West Virginia football legends Major Harris and Avon Coburn. Resident insider Joe Wismierski brings the hobby news, and Greeny will showcase the hottest upcoming collectible events, including the Shipshewana Fest, alongside the promoter, our special guest, Brad Beeman. Coming up on the other side.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Welcome into Greeny Sports Cards Live, the world's first multi-stream broadcast for the hobby industry, going on episode 117 here as we venture into the back half of our second year, going live every Tuesday night on multiple streams. So you may be watching us on any of the social media platforms, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, here in a bit to YouTube to the old X, and as well as Twitch and LinkedIn. So regardless of where you are watching, we encourage your participation in this interactive show. If you have a comment, make sure you drop that for us. If you have questions for any of our guests, of which there are plenty this evening, please do so and become part of the show as a growing audience continues to do week over week. We appreciate you joining us. My name is Jeremy Levine, broadcasting from near the worldwide headquarters of Greeny Sports Cards in Twinsburg, Ohio, which is adjacent to Cleveland, as we get ready for the Eastern Conference Finals with our Cleveland Cavaliers playing the New York Knicks tonight. So we're looking forward to that post-show this evening. And we do have a jam show for you, as well as we try to do every week, as we bring you athletes and coaches and influencers and producers and promoters across the country. And this week we will check in with Major Harris, a West Virginia football legend from the Mountaineers, who joined us out at the Mountain State Collectors Convention this past weekend in Charleston, South Carolina. So Green will have lots of feedback on that. We will also check in with West Virginia's all-time leading rusher, Avon Coburn, who is out at the show. So he will be interviewed by Anthony Lewis, our friend in West Virginia, and a big media personality down there. So we'll check in with the legends of West Virginia. We will talk to another legend, our very own resident hobby insider, Joe Wismierski, coming to us from Phoenix, Arizona, and Phoenix Sports Cards. So we will get to hear from Joe. He'll bring lots of hobby news and insight, as he does every week. Greeny will take you around the country and check in on the hottest card shows this weekend, including shows in St. Charles, Missouri. We'll go to down to Texas, as well as Green Bay, and the longest running show in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. We'll check in with that. And our special guest this evening will be none other than Brad Beeman from Shipshewana Card Fest, a major event in the Midwest that will take place this weekend. So lots to get to this evening, and very excited that you are with us. So we will check in on this week's hobby hits this week in the hobby, the week of May 17th, 2026. PSA announces a $200 million expansion to handle record grading volume. They revealed an infrastructure investment to expand capacity and hire 1,000 plus new employees, driven by unprecedented submission levels across sports and TCG. An Aaron Judge Superfractor sells for $838,750 after a dealer's act of integrity. A Texas collector's 2013 Bowman Chrome Aaron Judge 101 Superfractor in a PSA 9 sold for $838,000 plus at an heritage auction after an honest dealer encouraged him to get it graded instead of buying it on the cheap. So the hobby doing well and the hobbyist doing well by it. eBay card sales hit $227 million in April alone. eBay recorded a record in sports card sales in April, part of a massive 460 million 2-month stretch with Ohtani, Jordan, and Wemby leading the platform. And after Wemby's game last night, I don't see any shortage of that slowing down. Also in news from eBay, they rejected GameStop's $56 billion takeover bid. They have formally rejected GameStop's acquisition proposal, calling it, quote, neither credible nor attractive, keeping the collectibles marketplace landscape in flux. Certainly, that was the first shot fired across the bow by GameStop, so that story will continue. New data shows counterfeit Jordan and Pokemon cards still are flooding the market. Cam Schlitter is emerging as baseball's next breakout hobby star. Sports Illustrated Collectibles on SI reports the Yankee pitcher Cam Schlitter is putting up historic numbers, drawing fast rising collector interest. A rare LeBron James top chrome card is generating major buzz. A rare LeBron James top chrome card is drawing intense speculation, and it could set a new benchmark if it lands the expected price. Finally, collectors debate the, quote, slab tax as grading fees quietly rise across multiple companies. Multiple grading companies' adjusted pricing tiers this month have sparked a debate about whether a slab tax is forming and how it impacts low-end and mid-end collectors, and that is sourced from Cardlines. We will have more hobby news coming up with Joe Wismirski, our resident hobby insider, and lots to get to on the interview front and the hobby front. So with that, let's go ahead and welcome in the namesake, the man himself, Steve Greenberg, aka Greeny, owner and operator of Greeny Sports Cards.
Hey, Jerry. Nice shirt.
Yeah, rocking the Touchdown City show, and that is because we were in Charleston, West Virginia this weekend, and you had a little show there.
We did. We had the Mountain State Collectors Convention in Charleston, West Virginia. One of our sponsors, the Touchdown City Show with Anthony Lewis and Avon Coburn. We're so gracious to pass out T-shirts, give us a couple for ourselves. So, yeah, very, very happy to have them as a part of the show. We'll get to see one of their interviews in a little bit. But, yeah, again, another terrific weekend in Charleston, West Virginia. That city, you said, it keeps amazing us every time we've been down there. The show is awesome, but the city is great. You and I know I had a chance to walk around the downtown on Saturday and stumbled into a barbecue, like rib cook-off, and we hit Taylor Books to watch Andy Friedman play. And what a cool place that was to watch some music for a while. So yeah, really great weekend in Charleston.
Yeah, the city really does continue to surprise. Charleston, West Virginia. They're incredibly gracious hosts. It's a fun city. It's not a major city by any stretch. It's not Chicago. It's not LA. It's not even Cleveland. It's on the smaller end, but it is the state capital. There is lots to do there, and it continues to pleasantly surprise. And Greeny, you'll be back there in September for a fall edition as well, correct?
Yeah, we'll be there September 18th, 19th, and 20th, and we are working on some cool twists to that show to make it a little bit different. So can't wait to be back there in the fall and kind of check out what the city's like in the fall time. I got to imagine, man, in the Mountain State, some of the scenery will be pretty terrific down there.
Yeah, and I think it's just a terrific show, a growing show. It's not gangbuster numbers, but they're There was money walking through the door. There were
There
deals
was.
to be had, both on TCG and sports cards. And there is no shortage of content. I would encourage everybody, if you are not following Greeny Sports Cards, there's tons of content coming out of there, including your pickups and finds and interviews. And we saw Sasquatch over the weekend. Ryan Curtis was there with us. He's got plenty of content coming out as well. So make sure you follow Greeny Sports Cards on the socials for plenty of more content. And speaking of content, you had a chance to spend some time with a West Virginia legend, Major Harris. And so that's pretty cool, Green. He's a College Football Hall of Fame inductee in 2009. He led WVU to an undefeated regular season, a Fiesta Bowl national championship appearance, and he finished third in the Heisman Trophy voting in both 88 and 89. And as you said, he's one of the original dual threat quarterbacks out there. So let's take a look at your time spent with West Virginia legend Major Harris.
Growing up, you're playing football, high school. When did you decide that you really wanted to give it a shot, play college football? When did you know that you were good enough to do that?
Well, it was just I guess a natural process of just playing. And as you playing, then all of a sudden you start getting publicity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I might can do something with this. You know what I mean? It was really, the football part was, I was just playing football just to get ready for basketball, because a lot of the guys that, was on the basketball team, we just played football just to play.
Right.
But then I started getting more publicity, you know what I mean, playing football than basketball. So then I'm like, man, I might, you know what I mean, gotta focus more on football than basketball.
Yeah. When you were really one of the first dual threat quarterbacks ever. Was that something that they talked to you about? Like, we're gonna build a system around you?
Well, no. You can really see teams like moving in that direction.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a thing of, they telling me this is what they're gonna do. You can really see it. You know what I mean? The teams that was moving toward more of a mobile quarterback and stuff like that.
Yeah. When we look around this room, you see all the different memorabilia stuff. Do you have any of your jerseys?
You know what? When I look back at it, no, not really.
You didn't get to keep any of that memorabilia?
Well, over the years, like you jumping from place to place, a lot of times it would probably be at your mom's house.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then who knows, your brothers and who knows what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, see, nowadays, that's a big thing. You see the jersey swaps in the NBA. Like, the bowl games you played in. Like, did they have your name on the back of the jerseys back then?
Oh,
or was
yeah.
It just a number? So,
definitely. Yeah.
So there's somewhere, somebody has one of your game-worn jerseys.
Yeah. Some
of the players that you played with, did you follow any of their careers in the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm real big into fantasy football now.
Okay.
So, I'm following it, every year, really.
You still follow the Browns?
Yeah. It's a little different now. When I was young, that was my team. But then when you get older, you know what I mean? Like, well, man, if I make it to the pros, so now you really neutral with your favorite teams. You know what I mean?
Well, especially in fantasy football.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
So we at Greeny Sports Cards, we do a lot of NIL. We have kids that we make cards for. Mm-hmm. You obviously didn't grow up in that era with NIL. What do you think about it now? Like that the players are paying.
You know what? I'd rather see them with the money than without it. And what I mean by that,
agree.
What I mean by that is, like, I'd rather, they say, well, it's you definitely want to get your education.
Of course,
definitely.
right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, if guys can make money, even if they dumb, at least they had the money in their hand to screw it up than not have it at all. That's how I kind of look at it.
And that's one of the things, I talk to a lot of coaches, and they're like, players are getting the money, but we need to teach them what to do with the money, right?
Yeah.
Some of these players, it might be the most money they ever earn, and to be educated to what to do with that money.
Yeah,
that's kind of a big process.
Yeah, that's true.
Now. Good stuff. Well, listen, Major, we appreciate you coming. Yeah. I loved watching you play as a kid, man. So it's a pleasure having you here at our show. And this is Major Harris at the Mountain State Collectors Convention. Yeah, he was a lot of fun. I had a chance after that. We just sat there for probably a half hour, him and I, just talking about fantasy football and the teams he watched growing up. He said that he was a big Browns fan growing up in Pittsburgh. He was telling us he had the electronic football game and used to play with all the Browns players. So it's a pretty interesting conversation with him. And the other thing that we were talking about offline, when he went to the Heisman Trophy ceremonies, the 2 different years, he was there with Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith and the likes of that. And just to know that he was in that group of people was pretty amazing. I think Jeremy's muted. It's very important what he's saying too.
Yeah, it's not that important. It's I was saying it is amazing, and what else is amazing is what we get to do these days, and the fact that when I was watching Major Harrison College, I was in middle school, and these guys were bigger than life superheroes, and getting to spend time with them now at these shows and throughout the hobby, it's pretty awesome. So speaking of awesome, this show, your shows do not happen without great partners, great sponsors. One of those tremendous partners is the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau, along with the Convention Center. They allowed that show to happen in partnership, and all the other great sponsors that help produce that show. And then here on this side, Sport Card Auctions. So if you are looking to consign and turn your sports cards into serious cash, make sure you check out Sport Card Auctions. They'll make it simple for you. We talk about them every week, Greeny. They handle all the services. You just ship your cards. They'll handle everything from photography to listing to shipping. They've got over 15 years of experience, and they are a trusted choice for thousands of collectors, whether it's vintage cards, modern cards, even TCG these days. Get consigning today at sportcardauctions.com, and your cards will get the spotlight they deserve.
Yep, we showed last week some of the items that I had, and they ended, and I got money deposited in my account. Happy, easy peasy.
There you go. Along with Major Harris, we had another West Virginia legend joining us again this year. Avon Coburn is the all-time leading rusher in West Virginia history. He is the first player to rush for 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons in West Virginia history. And arguably that will not happen again anywhere because of NIL and kids jumping. And if they're good enough these days, they're going pro after their 3rd years. He finished his career with 5,164 rushing yards, had a cup of coffee in the NFL. He was all first team Big East, and just a really tremendous guy. Anthony Lewis, who co-hosts the Touchdown City Show along with Avon, interviewed him on the Big Play media stage down at the Mountain State Collectors Convention. Let's check in with both of them.
You're a few years removed from your career, but when you walk around or people have your collector's card, how does that strike you as the fact that you actually have a card that floats around in probably a lot of these boxes out there?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a little surreal because I think as a kid when you had your card, when you collected cards and then you find yourself in a couple pockets and a couple boxes of kids and adults. It's a little surreal, and it's one of those things that you don't expect it, but you always want it. And it's good to know that I am floating around here in some places.
Let's talk a little bit about WVU football. Last year we sat here and talked WVU football, and we didn't know what to expect except for the fact that we knew there'd be a lot of yelling at practice. That's about the only thing we knew was going to happen.
Right.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to anybody or gauge what the 2026 season might be like?
Yeah, I did. So I actually went up to a couple practices. I think I went to the very first one where I didn't stay very long. My little brother came in, he had a flag football team. So I watched a little bit, but then I went up maybe a couple weeks ago during spring practice. And I will say we have great size. We have Rick Trickett back, which is going to solidify, I think, our offensive line. And the biggest thing is, our quarterback. We got a quarterback. Our quarterback he was making throws that I did not believe was possible. We really got a quarterback, man. So that is a guy that when you got a quarterback, you got hope.
You were one of the top running backs in the country coming out of high school. and had visited. Where did you visit? I mean,
So I didn't really visit anywhere. I've got
who was
offers.
recruiting?
So yeah, so what happened was my junior year, I went to University of Tennessee, or Tennessee University. I don't know what it's UT. Yeah, University of Tennessee, and I went down there for a camp, and I was just killing them. I was down there killing them, and this is my first time flying on a plane. It was an amazing experience for me. I met Leonard Little, who was, he was a huge defensive lineman, linebacker. And I went out there and I was returning punts, and I was, just running routes and playing running back and receiver, and I killed them. And then I went up to Philip Fulmer's office, and he offered me a scholarship. And he said, "What do you think about it?" And me, I had no idea who Tennessee was. The only team that I ever watched was Notre Dame and Florida School. So I didn't even really realize that Tennessee was a big time school. Yeah. And I was like, well, let me get back to my
uniforms and everything.
And helmets. And so I became a Tennessee fan for a little bit because, they started talking about Peyton Manning. Then I started watching college football and started realizing, okay, wow, this is a really big school.
You've told me the story and I want you to share it, but like you obviously had the red shirt, play behind Amos, but in '98, that team with Mark Bolger, Gary Stills, they play in the Insight.com Bowl. You go to the bowl, and you run into Amos in the hallway, and Amos lets you know he's headed to the NFL. Right. What was that exchange?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man, because I'm in the room with him, all year long, and he doesn't say very much to me. "What's up, buddy? How you doing?" He doesn't say very much to me the whole year. I mean, I'm a freshman with not two, but I got a big knee brace on, and I'm just here to get an education, which is great. But we're at the Inside.com Bowl. We just lost the game. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back." And he's like, "Hey, this is gonna be your show now." And to hear that from the guy that I idolized, I mean, I thought he was one of the best players that I've ever seen in person. And he said, "Hey, this is gonna be your show. You got to go do it." I mean, he put a battery pack in my back that when he told me this was going to be mine, I mean, I don't know if he knew something I didn't know, but once he said that, there was no stopping him. I went full bore. I mean, I stopped doing everything that wasn't productive to me getting that starting role. And once he told me that, it just put a battery in my back. And I knew from that point on I was going to be the starter.
Avon's terrific, man. We've had a chance the last 2 years to get to talk to him and hang out with him, and he's got some good stories, some good knowledge, and obviously a terrific football player.
Yeah, lots of fun, Greeny. Congratulations on another major event, major guests. Really cool stuff. So, speaking of guests, it's time. Greeny, we must summon a man who enters every card show like a Royal Rumble. Is the desert-dwelling deal wizard of Phoenix Sports Cards, the Sultan of Slabs, the breaker of boxes, the patron saint of poorly centered 90 inserts. He's a man who once pulled so much fire in a single break that the smoke detector tried to negotiate a buyout. He's the only human alive who can cause a bidding war just by walking past a showcase. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. It's the headband-wearing, hobby-shaking Commissioner of Chaos himself, Headband Joe Wismerski.
I'm here. Internet connection is strong.
You're glowing.
I'm glowing. You can tell. My A1C dropped 5 points in 3 months. The doctor was thrilled. So we're doing
fantastic.
Well. We're doing
That's
well.
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're the father of a zombie, we heard.
Yeah, no, gentlemen, I did get to see my daughter. She performed very well. Guys, we already know this, but sports and high school sports and club sports is just a wild, wild environment. $92 per ticket to go watch my daughter play this week. $92. Now, let me tell you, that was for just a spectator, a parent. They sold packages to colleges and they were tiered based off of the division levels. Now, here's where it gets really kind of crazy that I learned. And this is through friends of mine that are coaches. Division I coaches, I think they paid about $800 for their ticket. But with that came names, email addresses, phone numbers, jersey numbers, grade point averages of all the gals that were there. So it's crazy. I mean, they're essentially buying information, right? And we're willingly giving them that information. It's a wild event. It was absolutely wild. And there was monitored parking. It was $8 a day to park there. It was crazy. Crazy.
Hey, Joe, speaking of economics, I'll leave you guys with this question as well as our audience. It's our question of the day, because the economy, depending on where you are, is a little funky. So our question is the state of the economy impacting your hobby decisions? Are you buying less? Are you selling more? Are you attending more or less shows? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will leave you guys to hobby news.
It's funny, Steve, you hear questions like that and you start to think, is this a hobby? Or, like, let's be honest, it's a business, right? It really is a business.
Yeah, there are still people that treat it as a hobby and are diehard collectors, but it's a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I know we have a friend of ours who is, he treats it as a hobby and he absolutely loves it to death. But just to see what that stuff goes for, it's wild. When we talk about the economy, we talk about everything that's going on with cards. We talk about the explosion of Topps Chrome football. Steve, I sent you over a message probably about 10, 15 minutes ago. But PSA just put out a little alert, which I thought, this is kind of funny, right? Topps Chrome football came out over a month ago. Think about how many cards have been submitted to PSA Topps cards, right? And now they're saying, hey, we want you to be on the lookout. It appears that the majority of these cards have roller print marks on the backs of them. So you may not want to submit them, which is twofold, right? So the optimist in me is like, good on them. They're letting people know, just don't submit junk because you're not going to get the grade you want. But the pessimist in me is like, I see what you're doing here, because now you're also saying, hey, a lot of these, it's going to be real tough to get a gem, right? So I might have that card that could potentially be that gem, and I'm going to go ahead and send it off. I don't know.
Yeah, or what they're just saying is that those cards may not hold value because they're damaged. I don't know, right? Like,
Steve, that's a soft take, dude.
Really?
That's a real soft take. Steve.
I get it, but like, for what? What? Like, if Topps is not putting out good cards, why would people spend big money on
it? I think they've done a great job.
They don't grade well.
No, PSA is telling them now. A month later,
I understand who it is. It's PSA telling you that Topps Chrome cards don't sell well, so why should people buy them?
No, they're not telling you that they don't sell well. They're just saying they
grade well. Grade well. Grade well. They don't grade well. Sorry.
But then I think that artificially props up that you might be able to find that one pack where the roller print lines weren't impacted on the cards, right? So you increase it twofold, but then you also increase the people that send those cards. Think about now, and this is up your alley, Steve, all of those 90s insert cards that people are like, oh, this is a tough grade. Or when you do your captivating grade reveals, which always get me, Steve, always. You do a great job. You cover the front, you show them, and you explain to the people that don't know or that are encouraged to learn about these 90s inserts, like when a 7 and an 8 comes up, that's actually a good grade on this card. And like you tell us, okay, that's a tough grade. This is a tough card. But people are trying to constantly find those insert cards for that. Could I get that 9? Could I get that grail of a 10? And I think you're going to see that now in the shop. Steve, we came across 2. They're considered case hits, ultraviolets, same card, Drake May, incredible indentions on the back from roller marks. Like, you know, these are cards that are going to have to go, if you sell them through eBay, they're going to have to go through authentication. And if you do not accurately describe that card, now you're in a little bit of a conundrum, right?
So they're probably going to a repacker, or if somebody wants to sell them on a Fanatics or a Golden or a name they're going to have to be graded, and maybe they'll just be putting authentic holders.
And does this now maybe Kurt's Card Care starts to have a boom?
I don't know. Can he fix that stuff? I don't have any idea.
I've never touched any of that stuff because I'm just like, it's not,
yeah.
that's not,
No.
I get too crazy, or like, I was actually having this conversation with a guy who brought in a bunch of Kobe's today. He brought in a bunch of unlicensed Edge Kobe's. He was like, well, you know, some of the coloring on this, he's like, I think I might look at Kurt's Card Care. And I was like, dude, if you do that, you're now altering the state of that card. If you get a qualifier, regardless of what you get, and he had a card that it was an SGC, it was a Kobe rookie, and I'm not sure how they do it with SGC, but it said evidence of trimming, card is authentic, and that's what it said on the slab.
Yeah, it didn't have a number grade, did it?
No, it did not. Right. And so that and I was explaining that hurts that card.
Right.
Because
it's just authentic.
That's essentially a qualifier, right, Steve? If it says evidence of trimming on the label.
I mean, it's a little more than a qualifier. It's, you know, yeah. PSA won't do that.
No, they'll just send it back to you.
Right. N6.
Okay. Thank you for the shipping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the collection. Which, by the way, PSA did have some news this week.
Big
that
news.
They're infusing a lot of money in there into the actual infrastructure to be able to handle more cards. But then there's been a lot of rumbling that they're talking about shutting down the bulk grading services.
I mean, did you see what they did to their turnaround times as well?
I did see what the president of PSA said. They're not good enough yet to give it accurate time, so they're doing ranges. That's number one. And then also what they kind of Steve, they slid in there after they talked about the 200 million being infused into PSA. They also said that bulk services are now from 20 to 25 cards. Now the minimum is a 50 card submission for bulk service.
And an estimated of 140 to 160 day turnaround at $24.99.
Yeah.
So you open your Topps Chrome today, you get I don't know, Jackson Dart, Topps Chrome, base rookie, not a number, whatever, and you want to submit that to bulk. When are you getting that back? Right?
You know, Steve, I think this is really advantageous for those who are busting Bowman and they're prospecting for the next 3 years. And so maybe that guy that you submit this week, you'll have him in time for maybe his call up.
Yeah. So I submitted 2 cards this week with GA grading down at the Mountain State Collectors Convention. And one was a Josh Allen rookie, number to 75. I can't remember what the other one was. It was a new Marvel Spider-Man card. And we went through and looked at the turnaround times because I want those cards for the National. So I went with the $80 regular level and hopefully to get them in 30 to 40 business days. Like there's some things for different like shows or the start of the football season. You now have to look at when those cards can possibly come back. And then at the end of the day, if it's going to take 6 months, I mean, who's to say that card that's selling for $300 in a PSA 10 now is not selling for $100 in 6 months?
Yep. You didn't say which National, Greeny. You'll have it by next year. So
well, Jeremy usually brings up real big headlines, and one of the ones he did skip over because I know he's not very versed in Pokemon yet. We got to get him there. But the Bubble Mew, neither of you have spoken about that. The Bubble Mew, which was a BGS black. Woo! There we go, Haley. Let's go. The Bubble Mew has a famous artist does the Bubble Mew. Okay. This card was a BGS black label, and it just recently broke the record for Mews. It actually sold for $263,000. $263,000.
That's very amusing.
Jeremy, that's a fictional character. Okay.
Right.
Fictional character.
Right. Mew.
Yeah.
And I do need to apologize to both of you. I get it. Everyone else, yes, my Pistons could not pull it off. They got whooped in Game 7. I know you guys are so humble. I get it. And then my Tigers have been just getting waxed by the Guardians, and they're just humbly moving along with baseball's best player that nobody talks about and gives no love to, Jose Ramirez. We get it.
Ozzy.
We know the Guardians are a great football team, or I'm sorry, a baseball team. You guys don't have a pro football team worthy of that yet.
No, we not yet.
Yeah, we have the Buckeyes.
Yeah, you guys OH.
IO. All right, Joe, we appreciate you joining us as always. Let everybody know where they can find you.
At PHX Sports Cards on Instagram, 59th and Thunderbird in Glendale, Arizona. Check us out. Sports Cards Confessions. I'm in negotiations, potentially. We're figuring stuff out.
Can't wait to see where it lands.
Good deal.
Thanks, guys.
Sounds like big news from Joe. There may be other really big news on the horizon that we'll announce here soon, Greeny. But got to keep it moving. And with that, it is time for Card Show Live.
Hey, welcome on into this Memorial Day weekend edition of Card Show Live, where we're going to take you around the country and preview some of this weekend's fun shows to attend. We're going to start in St. Charles, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis, to the gas trading card shows. And we had them on about a month or so ago, maybe a little more, and talked about some of their shows. They have 350 tables coming up this weekend, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. In St. Charles at the St. Charles Convention Center. That is gas trading cards, and they have quite an array of shows around the country, and we look forward to hearing about what's going to happen at this one. Sent 350 tables in the St. Louis area. From there, we're going to head down to McAllen, Texas for 125 tables at the All-Star Card Expo. This one is May 23rd and 24th. You got Tito Santana, a couple of Dallas Cowboys players there. The All-Star Card Expo in McAllen, not Allen, McAllen, Texas. From there, we're going to the Cheese State, Wisconsin, the Green Bay Card Show at the KI Center, 160 tables. Matt Lambrick has this show Saturday, May 23rd. Free admission, free parking, and a lot of other things, as well as 160 plus tables at the KI Convention Center this Saturday, May 23rd, the Green Bay Card Show. From there, one of my favorite shows, little one, but the longest running show in Arizona, Mike Vecchiola's Northwest Coin and Card Show in Phoenix, Arizona. Mike has done a great job with this show. It's been going on for years. It said the longest running show. Our friend Jay sets up at that show, as well as plenty of others. I know the guys from Phoenix stop by and do a lot of buying at that show, but for being a little show in the 50 table range, they have tremendous attendance at that one. So Mike Vecchiola's show is this Saturday, May 23rd in Phoenix, Arizona. And then rounding out our favorite shows of the week, the Shipshewana Card Fest. And if you have never been to Shipshewana, Indiana, this is the weekend to go. 500 tables, a trade night and pretzels that melt in your mouth. A lot of things happen. This is a really fun show in the middle of nowhere. That's what they say. But it is a bustling town during this weekend. May 22nd and 23rd. The show is Friday and Saturday. And in a minute, we'll talk to Brad about some of the changes there. But don't miss the Shipshewana Card Fest this Friday and Saturday in Shipshewana, Indiana. And with that, that is Card Show Live for this Memorial Day weekend. And if we missed anything, leave us some shows in the comments that you're going to be attending. And as always, enjoy the shows.
Great stuff, Greeny, as always. Yeah, great comment too. Let us know where you're attending shows this weekend. Really great stuff. So our special guest this evening is one of the most respected operators in the Midwest hobby circuit as well as the country. He also now takes the record for the most frequent special guest on Greeny Sports Cards Live since our inception. Brad Beeman is the organizer behind the rapidly growing, continually growing Shipshewana Card Fest, the show that has become a true destination event for collectors across Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and the greater Midwest. It's known for its strong dealer lineup, family-friendly atmosphere, the unique energy that only Shipshewana can deliver, and, of course, as you mentioned, the pretzels. Brad has built a following by focusing on consistency, transparency, and creating a show experience that both dealers and collectors trust. He's a steady, community-driven promoter helping shape the Midwest hobby landscape, and we are thrilled to welcome him back this evening. And with that, we'll say hello to Brad Beeman.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Brad. I know it's a busy time for you. We appreciate you jumping on and go over some of the enhancements that you're making this weekend in Shipshewana. And we look forward to this show all the time. I know this year I won't be, or this weekend I won't be set up, but I'm hoping to be walking around. So I look forward to the enhancements, and let's talk about that. What's new in Shipshewana for this edition?
Before I get into that, you know how they say like Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl world champion, 5-time MVP. I think I'm Brad Beeman, 4-time Greeny Sports Cards Live.
We'll take it.
You are 4-time appearing Brad Beeman on Greeny Sports Cards Live. You're on the verge. We've got to get you a Joe Wismierski epic introduction for all your appearances.
No, I really appreciate it. Anytime we can talk about the show, Greeny and I can't help ourselves but to jump at the opportunity, because that's what promoters do, right? Anytime we can. So no, we're super excited for this one. March was a record attendance for us, so there's a lot to live up to. And I will say, obviously, I'm partnered with Card Collector too, and one of the things that Ryan really stresses is that we have to elevate each show that we do. So we do have some new things happening for this one. We have we've always had a kids card scavenger hunt. It's part of the backbone of the show. But we actually cut out an entire section of the Michigan Event Center to be a kid zone. So if you're a mom or dad who comes with maybe a young one who's not quite a collector yet, and big brother or big sister is on the floor and they're a little bit miserable, they'll have a place to go. So we have a new kid zone that we're excited about. Our new VIP lounge that we introduced in March was a smash hit. So we're bringing that back and expanding upon that. And then a couple other surprises in the mix. And then we just found out today we have a really exciting signer. I wish I could disclose it, but I have a design team coming up with flyers and announcements, and that'd be a really crappy thing for me to do to get ahead of their work. But maybe if I see on my phone it pops up, I'll share it before I jump off here. But really excited. Anytime you can have a signer, that'll be on Saturday from 8 to 9:30 a.m., maybe the earliest autograph signing in the history of sports cards, but that's when the guest wanted to do it. I guess the hint I'll give you is this guest really likes sports cards too and wanted to kind of walk the show as well. So anyways, I won't ramble on, but we're just really excited. We expanded to 554 tables. We were about 500 and just slightly less than that, but we wanted to stretch our aisles. Conversation could have with Greeny just about, sometimes as promoters, we fall in love with the crowded aisle picture, right? Like, hey, our show's so full. I think there's a demand out there by collectors to have a little bit more comfortable experience. So we actually stretched out all the aisles by 2 feet. When we did that, if you stretch out a floor plan long enough, you end up getting a gap where you can put more tables in. So we added about 30, 40 tables. So this will be the largest Shipshewana Card Fest we ever had as well.
Let's talk about the parking then. You know, that's one of the things that people talk about at every show. It's not just a Shipshewana show. We had it at our show, and I know people ask that question there. What do we do about parking, Brad?
Yeah, so for this show, we actually secured the right across from this is kind of an only in Shipshewana type story. Across the road from our venue is the Midwest largest flea market. And the flea market, oddly, is only open on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. It's not open on the weekend. So we did secure some more parking over there. I will tell you, Greenie, the mistake we made in the past, we've tried, just like you've tried valet, we've tried shuttle buses. You can't hardly get people to park off site. They'll just park illegally before they'll park off site. But the thing that we did for this show was we expanded the guys that will be in the lot, and they're going to point out the parking right across the street. It might be 40 yards or so. It's not a half a mile or anything crazy, but we did expand the parking that way. And I will say, I think a lot of times, a lot of the buzz you see on the internet, first quarter card shows are just a different beast than card shows for the rest of the year. What's adequate parking for 9 months of the year might not be for 3 months of the year, if that makes sense. So I think between, summer crowds versus February, March crowds are slightly different. I think between that variance and having a backup plan on where we can send some people, I think we'll be in good shape this weekend.
Brad, we saw record attendance at the Great Lakes Collectors Convention in co-located with the Strongsville Collectors Convention this year. You mentioned record-setting attendance coming off your past show. Our question of the day has to do with the economy, and how it's affecting collectors. Do you have a sense one way or the other if the economy is impacting how people think about these shows, or are we just riding this wave where they continue to come out and as both Joe and Greenie alluded to earlier, it's still being treated more like a business than a hobby? What's your sense of the market in the Midwest?
Yeah, I would say the first inkling, I would say the economy's had zero effect in the last 3, 4, 5 years. Like the hobby's only grown. People only say they're bringing more and more money to buy for whoever they're buying for, whether it be themselves or someone else. I would say just recently I've heard a little bit about $5 gas. I do think the average family, it starts to become a consideration when the show is more maybe than an hour away, or half hour away, whatever their threshold is for that. So I do think the gas plays a little bit of a part, but from an economy perspective, it just doesn't seem, and I would love your guys' opinion, it just doesn't seem like the money's changing that much. If not, people, it seems like they say they're spending more on it. And to your point, the liquidity in the hobby, kind of allows you, for some people who maybe are not doing a personal collection, but flipping these cards, I think there's a chance for them to drive and make a profit, drive and move cards to offset some of the expense. But can it go on forever? I don't know, but that would be my take. I think the gas has a little bit of effect, but I don't think the economy's had much of effect at all.
No, we tend to agree. I mean, we see record numbers at these shows. Like even the 50 table shows are completely packed, and some of our 50 table shows, I could sell 100 tables if I could fit them in those rooms. So yeah, right now I think it's still as hot as it's ever been, and I don't see that trending downward anytime soon. Especially, like you said in the quarter, right? So now we're heading into almost national territory, right? We're 10 weeks out, whatever it is, maybe a little less, from Fanatics Fest and the National and the West Coast Card Show. So I think all of these shows now, maybe starting with yours this weekend, people are gearing up for their national inventory. So I don't think any money is going to slow down right now.
Greenie, I'd be interested. I bet 3 to 4 years ago, I used to stop my show schedule because I've never had a monthly show. I've only done quarterlies or semi-annuals or annuals. I used to be like, nope, I refuse to do one in June or July. I won't do it. I'll wait till after the national. And it's like that. It's a different world we live in now. We're planning our most ambitious card show we've ever done at the Columbus Convention Center 30 days before the national at the end of June. So that has been an interesting change for a guy that's
You know
been
what? I actually want to bring that up too, because when would you ever think that you would plan a 500 table show in 3 months? Right? Like you literally just announced that show whenever it was 2 months ago. And like, when would you ever think in any day and age, man, I'm going to do a 500 table show and I'm going to do it in 60 days, right? Like,
Yeah.
or whatever the number is. Like that should be something you do for a year.
Yeah, and it was in the works for a couple years. It's very again, I keep saying Greeny can speak to this because
Right.
we live parallel lives in different states, I think, on as far as promoting shows. But it's it's a tough market in Ohio, especially central Ohio, to find venues. And we were trying to find a venue that had a ton of parking, that was super reasonable, that could fit 500 tables. And that is a rare unicorn in central Ohio. So we ended up down at the convention center. So to add on to that, to do it in 90 days and with the complexities of using 10, 12, 15 vendors, and like at the Michiana Event Center where Shipshewana is, the same guy does everything for you. The same guy that books you there is your caterer, is your floor plan helper. At the center, at the convention center, there's like 12 different vendors, whether it's Mills James or whether it's Fern or whether it's all these different companies. The person that makes the sign can't hang the sign, and the guy that hangs the sign can't operate the forklift. And so you're just dealing with vendor after vendor. So it has been, I can't wait for everyone to see it, but on July 4th, I might sleep for 24 hours because I'm just exhausted.
Yeah, it's a totally different dynamic of dealing with a union hall, and you've got departments that have departments within them. It's a lot of stuff. Brad, we heard very similar remarks this weekend of $5 gas, but the general flow of these shows seems to be the same. You got on a 3-day show, Friday or the first day of the show, you've got big money walking through the door. You've got all kinds of deals taking place between not only the vendors themselves, the exhibitors, but there's big money walking in the door to have first crack at these events. And then in this case, a Saturday seems to have a big draw, big audience. You've got a crossover of all kinds of people. And then Sunday has its own rhythm as well when you get to day 3 and there's deals to be had. So I don't see it slowing down either, certainly until the national takes place this year. And with Fanatics and where they are in the hobby, just continue to add rocket fuel to it. And now PSA with their investment, we'd be hard pressed to see any of this slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, honestly, the biggest, and I don't even know with breaking and things like that if it's as epic as I think, but the drumbeat that I hear the most is box prices. Obviously, that doesn't have a lot to do with the card show, but just hobby in general. That's probably the number one concern I hear collectors talk about is just box prices in general and being priced out and having to go through a break to get their product. So, but as far as, obviously the first quarter of the year will always be prime show season, but it's awesome for guys like us to be able to plan more than just a monthly, nothing wrong with the monthly, but you know what I'm saying, that more bigger events throughout the year and not have to just totally front load your schedule.
Yeah, we've talked about this offline several times, well, more than several, probably tons of times, but the sponsors that help all of our shows, like you have the VIP Friday, but you have free admission on Saturday. So talk about that, how the sponsors and feel free to say any of them that do really help to put events on like this.
Yeah, first I feel blessed. We have 15 sponsors for this upcoming show, and with our sponsorships, you can get in early to set up. You obviously get the social media mentions, and what everyone really wants is like the priority seating by the front door. But without those folks, we're admission free on Saturday. I truly don't know that we could be with the expenses of running this size of a show without their support. So they're huge, and a lot of these people, the greatest thing is, and you guys probably experienced this too, some of your flyers, you barely have to change the sponsors. You'll have 13, 14 returning sponsors, people like Key Cards and TNT and Logan Harris. and it's always a trap to start saying them right, because you're gonna forget some people or not mention everyone to not bore the audience. But just super blessed that like a sponsor like TNT, there's the ones that come to mind because there's crossover with our shows, Greeny. Not only are they a trusted resource to grade cards, but they also funnel a lot of money into the shows to help them be everything they can be. And our kit scavenger hunt is completely card shops donating unopened packs, and the kids go around the floor, get their stamps, and come back and get 2 or 3 free packs without mom or dad having to pay a penny to get in on Saturday or to participate in getting the packs. And Zion donates 12 Zion cases that we give out to kids, and that's always a huge hit. So much of what we do, I really think sponsors next level a show. You could have a show without sponsors, but they're what help you next level the show.
Fantastic. Yeah. We appreciate them. I know you do. Sponsors, they really do. They help bring the next level. That's a perfect way to do that. Before we let you go, the Shipshewana Card Fest this Friday and Saturday. The question that everybody wants to know, it's the biggest question of the weekend: how many pretzels? What is the over under on how many pretzels we'll go through this weekend?
You know what's funny? So the record was like 1,280. Now you have to understand this. You think, oh well, 24 hours. We're only in the venue from 4 to 8 and 9 to 4, right? So the previous record was 1,200 and some. And at the last show, the building manager came up with an hour to go and said the record of all time was a truck pull that we had outside the venue in the parking lot. And they went through 1,950 pretzels during this truck pull. He goes, you're at 1,940 with like an hour ago. So we did over 2,000 pretzels. So we always joke the over under on some of the dealers is like 4 or 5 pretzels in 24 hours, which I don't know how they ride home without getting sick, but none of my business. Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Well, now it's 2K. Your over under is 2K pretzels this weekend. So
that'll be lofty. If we beat 2K this weekend, I'm pretty happy on Monday of next week for sure.
Well, what was it? Four-time guest Brad Beeman, 4-time guest of Greeny Sports Cards. Brad, we thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck this weekend with Shipshewana Card Fest, and we look forward to you becoming 5-time guest on Greeny Sports Cards Live.
I'm always on deck and ready to go. So I appreciate you guys. And you said be here at 7:40 and like literally brought me on at 7:40. That's professional work, fellas.
We strive. We have a time. We've been told by a 13-time Emmy Award winner we gotta get on here. So
okay.
yeah. So very good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Brad. Thanks, Brad. We'll see you this weekend.
Our thanks to 4-time guest Brad Beeman, Shipshewana Card Fest, for joining us, along with Headband Joe Wismierski out of Phoenix Sports Cards. Thanks to Major Harris, thanks to Avon Coburn, thanks to Anthony Lewis for conducting that interview with Avon. Thanks to Haley on the board for all her tremendous work. Thanks to Drew this past weekend for his work. Thanks to Amber. Thanks to Adam. Greeny, just a cast of hundreds, if not thousands, along with all the sponsors for supporting the work. So most of all, thank you for allowing us to do this week over week on Greeny Sports Cards Live. Greeny, may the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, another great weekend at the Mountain State Collectors Convention. We look forward to all things happening this summer, and we will see you next Tuesday.